Hi, I'm Wade from Thoroughbred Diesel, and today we're going to be installing a Banks ram air intake and super scoop on an 05 Dodge. Folks, I am in danger. This Banks ram air intake and super scoop are actually held up here by a cattle sorting stick that you cannot see on the camera. It could fall at any time. If it does fall, we're going to let you enjoy the comedy of it. I want to attempt to catch it, so probably going to happen at any time. Hopefully it does not. Banks, big thank you to the guys at Banks. So we're putting this Banks air intake on an 05 Dodge. This is Adam's truck. Adam is going to be doing a turbo upgrade on this truck, and the first piece to that puzzle when you're doing a turbo upgrade is make sure that you upgrade your intake. Now, when we thought about intake for this truck, the first people that came to mind was Banks. We reached out to them and they sent us a air intake box with the super scoop for Adam's truck. Now, if you're in the market for an air intake, first off, Banks makes an awesome intake. This is a really great intake. The intake box and the scoop itself are two separate part numbers, so you have to order those together. You can order the intake. If you don't want the super scoop, that's fine. You can order it without the super scoop, or you can add the super scoop onto it. But they don't come together, so don't think that. But it's definitely an investment that you're going to want to look into. Now, the Banks ram air intake, made in America, good quality plastic. The molding process on these boxes are really nice. All the pieces are nice, good clean edges. Fit and finish on these boxes are really nice. Talk about the air filter. The air filter from Banks, you can get this in oiled or dried. They're two different part numbers as well. A lot of surface area on this intake, on this filter. Very nice filter. This is cleanable, so it's going to get you a lot of life out of it. The inlet side of this is over 7 inches wide, so it's going to move a lot of air to the turbo for you. So no restrictions as far as that goes, but over 7 inches on the inlet side of the filter. Really nice. Tons of surface area, so you're going to get a longer service interval on it. Another one of the engineering changes that Banks does on their intakes for the Dodges is they use these over 4-inch bellowed couplers. This allows you to have engine movement to where it's not pulling on the box or anything like that. The bellow allows for the movement of the air intake box, and you don't have to worry about anything. But yeah, really nice unit, very quality design. Everything from Banks is. So we're going to go ahead and get started with this installation on our 05 Dodge. All right, if you're installing the ram air intake with the super scoop, the first thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to trim 1 inch off of the bottom of the box. So the super scoop attaches to the bottom. This is closed in, so what you need to do is just go around it, measure 1 inch off of from the bottom, and then just cut the bottom section out. So Banks shows us doing it with a hacksaw. You can probably do it with anything that cuts plastic. I'm going to do it with our little air hacksaw here, and we will start our line by hand and let the pneumatic take over. All right, let's remove our stock air intake box from this 05 Dodge. So at the front of the box itself, there's a little leg that comes off of it, a 10 metric nut. We'll go ahead and remove that. And then what we will do is we will actually unplug our mass airflow sensor. And then it is a wiring harness loom there. So we'll just go ahead and unplug it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up my box. Try not to throw your clips on the ground like I did. I just removed my lid. Just get your lid ready to take off. And we'll just go ahead and undo the bellow. I'll just take the lid off of it while I'm getting the bottom of the air intake box out. You're going to want to keep this because you're going to be reusing, obviously, your filter minder and your mass airflow sensor. We'll pull our air intake out. Adam, it was time for a filter change anyway, so couldn't have come at a better time. And then to get our air intake box out, it's just got rubber grommets in the bottom of it, so we just lift up on our tab on the front, then grab the box and just rock it back and forth, and it'll come loose from the rubber grommets. Watch out for the overflow tube, and then just pull straight up on it, and you've got your box out. And then we need to get our tube off of the turbo, so just jump down there and undo the clamp at the turbo. So if you purchase the Super Scoop with your Banks Ram air intake for your 03 to 07 Dodge, you're going to have to remove the inner fender well to be able to attach the Super Scoop. So if you've got an existing truck and you've got an existing Ram air intake on it, and you've purchased the Super Scoop separately, then same thing, inner fender well needs to come out here, and we'll show you why on that. So Dodge inner fender wells are pretty easy to come out. You've got a bunch of 8 metric bolts around the outside of the fender well, and then if you look inside underneath the fender well, there'll be pockets, and everywhere you see a pocket, there's going to be a bolt. So just make sure you get your bolts out and just get it loose from the fender by pushing it back towards the truck, and then once you're clear of the fender, it should pretty much just roll out if you've got all your bolts. And then just watch for wires on there attached as well. And look at there, we've got one right there. Pop it off, and voila, your inner fender well's out, and now you have a straight shot looking at where the Super Scoop is going to go. Now I'm going to show you this while we're up here, and Adam's got a better shot on it. I'm going to try to get the light out of this thing. We're going to be removing the 2 nuts off of the lower bracket, off the lower bumper bracket. I'm going to move that down where you can see it. I'm actually going to take the camera underneath the truck and show you where those 2 bolts are, 2 nuts are. Next, we're going to remove the 2 nuts that hold the bumper to the bumper bracket, and these are 18 metrics. Just go ahead and take both of these off, and we're going to be using them because we're going to position our Super Scoop in the truck and bolt it down so that we can have a good location to drill our holes that will attach it to the ram air box. In your small parts bag with your Super Scoop, you have everything you need to install this, and what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be installing the brackets for the Super Scoop to attach to the bumper support brackets. So inside of your kit, you'll get 2 gold plated brackets, and they go with the transition pointing out on the Super Scoop, so it gets to the bumper support. Then inside your kit, there are 2 different style of push pins. There's some thin push pins, Adam's going to show you there. Then there's some thicker push pins. The thicker push pins are the ones that you want to use here, and then you install the Super Scoop brackets in these rearward holes on the Super Scoop, and you want to make sure that you put your brackets to where this transition portion, or this angled portion, is pointing towards the outside of the truck. And then you push the pins in from the bottom so that the thicker portion catches the bracket. So we're going to mount both of those on real quick here, and then we'll put it in the truck. All right, so we've got everything ready to install our Super Scoop. And what the scoop is going to do is it's going to just actually sit south of that, well, almost even with the intercooler line, and then the AC line should be fine too. So we're going to go ahead and place our Super Scoop in here. And then you can see on our other feed, it's starting to line up with the bolts. So our outer bolts is one I'm going to catch first. Throw the nut on there to hold it, and then we will catch the other one. Perfect. So that's going to have our Super Scoop loosely installed. And what we're going to do now is we're going to leave it just like this, and we're going to go ahead and get our ram air housing and place our ram air housing in the truck. I will tighten up these 2 lower nuts, and then we're going to place the ram air housing in and then line up the bolt holes for the attachment of the scoop to the ram air housing. All right, so where we're at right now is we have our super scoop installed in the truck, but what we want to do is we want to get our ram air intake base installed in the truck, and that's going to let us line it up with the super scoop. And then we've got a couple of holes that we've got to drill in the super scoop. Well, we actually got a couple of holes we've got to drill in the ram air base to attach the super scoop to it. So first thing you want to do is you want to get your old intake box, and on your old intake box, in the center of the little arm that goes out and hooks to the radiator support, you want to pull the silver insert out of it, and then pull the rubber grommet out, or push the rubber grommet out like so. Then in your Banks intake box, you have a bracket that comes with it. It's in your small parts kit, and we want to just put that grommet back together like so, and then put your center back in it. Okay, in your small parts package, you've got a small bolt and a washer. You're going to attach it to the ram air box, and you're going to leave it loose. And then you also want to look in your kit for the 2 rubber grommets and the 2 bolts and washers. This is going to be where we attach the ram air intake base to the original mounting location in the truck. It's going to go right there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to roll over and show you how it goes into the truck. All right, so before we put our ram air intake base in, we've got to remove these 2 grommets from the battery tray, because Banks supplies us with grommets that are threaded to hold the base. So we'll just pull those out real quick. Then we're going to put the 2 threaded grommets that Banks sends with us. Just go ahead and throw them in there. Now it's time to place our intake base inside. So I've got help here that's going to hold the super scoop up for us so we can get everything aligned. So just go ahead and throw your base in here, turning it the right way. You want to watch your finger there, Jimmy. The AC line could be in your way. If it is, just gently bend it out of your way. I think that's where we're at here. There it is. All right, Jimmy, go ahead and lift it up. All right. So that got us to our grommet, and now we'll put our radiator support in there, and that's got everything lined up on our super scoop. We're going to show you that here in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and put my bolts in here to hold this, and I want to go ahead and treat this as though I'm mounting the intake, because if you do that and you do it correctly, then what you're going to have is you're going to be able to get your holes drilled for your super scoop easier. All right, so we're ready to drill our 2 holes that go through our super scoop into our ram air base. What I did here was I just took some of the packing out of the Banks box, put a floor jack underneath the super scoop. What I wanted to do is I wanted to push that up as far as I could, because I want good engagement of my bolts to the box. So just got a little right angle drill here, and I'm going to go ahead and drill through it. So what we'll do now is we're going to go ahead and pull the ram air intake base back out. We're going to deburr these holes and get everything cleaned up, and then we'll reassemble it. So you've got these nut clips that come in your Banks kit. Remove your Banks ram air base and put these nut clips on, and we will be using those to attach the ram air base to the super scoop, just like that. So go ahead and put those on, then put your ram air base back in the truck. All right, we've put everything back together. We've got our clip nuts on our Banks base. So we're just going to go ahead, and in your small parts kit, you've got a couple of these bolts and washers that go in there, 10 metric head on these. Just go ahead and start those in the clip nuts and tighten them down. After this, I'm going to go ahead and put my inner fender well back in, put my tire back on, and then we will finish out our air intake install. Okay, in your small parts kit, you've got a couple of bolts or screws that hold on the air intake temp sensor on this Dodge. So we're going to go ahead and remove this from the stock box, and you can discard those. You can discard those screws because we're going to be actually using the ones from the Banks kit back. So this is what we want. We want the sensor pointing towards the back here. That just goes straight in, and sensor pointing towards the back like so, and then we'll go ahead and tighten those down with a Phillips. And then the filter minder, which is a nice feature of this kit, the original filter minder is still in play here. So what we'll do, move this off the table, we'll go ahead and remove this stock filter minder from the box here. Easier just to pull and twist at the same time, and eventually it'll work on out. Then the grommet comes too. The grommet on these is always a lot of fun. And the stock filter minder will go back into the Banks Ram Air lid, just like so. Adam caught the filter minder on it. There we go. It goes back in just like so. Now we're ready to get back underneath the hood. All right, I said we're going to go back under the hood, but we're actually going to do one more thing first. We're going to attach the Banks air filter to the Ram Air hood, and you want to get out of your small parts kit, you want to get the longest of the worm drive clamps, and just go ahead and take the filter and throw it on the lid, and then put that worm drive clamp on it. Just like so. Then you want to turn the filter. You can, if you look at the lid of the box, of the Ram Air box, you can kind of see the inlay there of how the filter really needs to go inside the lid. So then just go ahead and put your worm drive clamp on and tighten her down. We want to go ahead and put our straight coupler on our intake tube that goes to the face of the turbo. You want to get in your small parts kit and get the smaller, there's 4 worm drive clamps left. You want to get the smaller of the smaller 2 of the 4. And we're going to go ahead and put our straight coupler on the Banks tube. And then we're going to put our clamps on it so they're not in the way. Turn them where they, turn them where we can get to the worm drive bolts from the top. Make it a little easier. Leave them good and loose. Go ahead and drop your intake tube in and fall right on the turbo. It's easier to do it this way than to put the coupler on the turbo. This is what we found. So we're going to leave that loosened up, and we're going to turn our worm drive clamps where we can get to them before we proceed any farther, and just kind of line that up with your air intake box the way you think it's going to fall. Then we're ready for our lid. So you want to get your bellows. This bellow on this, we talked about, this is to let your engine have movement in here so where it's not pulling on your box, but it also makes it nice to where you can, it's a softer bellow. It's not that real rigid polyurethane bellow where it's hard to get on and off. So when it's time for you to change your filter or check your filter or whatever, it's a lot easier to access it because of this bellow. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and put our clamps on the back side of it and throw it on our intake tube. Make sure your clamps are good and loose.
like so. Now we're ready for our lid that has our filter already done in it. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to shut our watch up. We're going to open up our worm drive clamp. We're going to throw it on the bellowed portion as well. Then we're just going to take our lid and put the lid in the box and push the bellow back real easy. Engage it onto the lid like so. And you can see that's pretty well the makings of our air intake there, so we'll have to tighten that down. We need to reattach our wire for our air intake sensor, just like so. And in your small parts kit, there are 4 screws, and I did not bring those with me, yes I did, that attach the Banks ram air lid to its base, and they are Phillips head. We're just going to go ahead and put the 4 of those in, and our installation is done. We're going to ward off another telemarketer phone call. And that's it. So I'm going to tighten these 4 screws down, tighten up all of my worm drive clamps and the worm drive clamps at the bottom as well. Then we'll cut back in and we'll show you our finished product. All right, so you want to adjust your super scoop now, kind of where you want it. I want to kind of push it over this way. And in your small parts kit, the last thing, there are 4 more of these little push pins like this. You're going to want to get yourself a 1/8 inch drill bit and go through here, and you can clear this with the scoop obviously on the truck, but you go through here, feel for the 4 indentions to where this attaches to the lower valance. This is for standard, this instruction is for standard bumpers only. If you have painted bumper, this isn't done, but for the standard bumpers, you go through here, and we're going to pin it to this plastic part. So 1/8 inch drill bit, we'll go through here and we'll hit all 4 of those, and we're going to come back with a 1/4 inch drill bit, and then put our push pins in. And a push pin at them right there beside of you. Dynamic shooting, dynamic camera work. And then that's our last push pin there. We want to make sure that we get all of the debris out of the super scoop, so there's no chance of it making it into the air intake. There's that. There's our super scoop on the truck adjusted, and it's rigid. It's tight. It's not going anywhere. I feel that's secure on the truck. We're not gonna have any problems with that grabbing anything and popping off or whatnot. So scoop, we're good to go. We're gonna show you top side on what the intake looks like. We use back, one last thing we've got to do is the bolt on the intake box. We'll just get a short screwdriver. We'll tighten it up, but everything else is tightened up now. And there's our Banks ram air intake on our 05 Dodge with the super scoop. I definitely suggest using the super scoop option. I think it's going to get you colder air, just better air for you to make power. Keep the truck happy, and nice intake. I mean, Banks has been doing intakes for a long time. They've got it down pat. They do things that make it nice for you when you're, just like we were talking about, checking the filter on this. A lot of air intake companies, they use it's just almost impossible for you to check the air intake without having to take dang near 3/4 of the box apart to be able to get to it, or so on. Banks makes it easy for you with that corrugated coupling. It's easier to check. It's a softer plastic. It's just better, softer rubber. It's just a better design on that. Kept your filter minder in place and all the things. So we really like it. Another big thanks to Banks for sending us one. This is kind of a little air project that we've got going on Adam's truck. We're going to be upgrading the turbo and doing some more things to just improve airflow and get him a little bit more power and just a better overall towing truck. So We're going to link you inside of this video somewhere around in here where you can buy the Banks Ram Air intake and the Super Scoop for your truck. Super Scoop, we haven't mentioned this yet. There's 2 different part numbers for this. Painted bumpers is one part number, standard bumpers is another. Standard bumpers, if you've got the chrome on it like this truck does, that's a standard bumper. It's kind of confusing because the top side of this is painted, but this is a standard bumper, and the painted bumper is obviously kind of like this sport bumpers. They're all painted. So we'll link you to buy those inside of this video. And if you have a question on any Banks products or any of our other projects, just give us a call, like and subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching.